everybody, Chris Wall here. I am the executive producer of the Wingfeather Saga animated series. Thank you for joining for our Read and Watch. Today we're talking about episode 4. It's a big one. And I have some special guests with me. So, I'll turn this way. Can you explain who this fella is?
This is Jeb. He is an appreciator of the neat, the strange, and or the yummy. And much like his favorite character in the series, which is Oscar and Rateep, he is constantly quoting his favorite authors. And, I witnessed that a lot. Jeb loves to imagine outside, build Lego sets, and play with his brother. When he's not reading Wingfeather, you can find him on a favorite couch with Bucky, our dog. And he's got books piled around him. It's quite a funny sight.
Very nice, very nice. That's good. That's a good introduction. Okay, who's this person?
This is my sister Lizzie. She is an enthusiastic reader and Wingfeather fan. Her favorite character is Calmar Wingfeather because of his funny and quick wit.
Whoa, she called him Calmar Wingfeather. Spoiler alert. Calmar Igiby. Sorry if that ruined something for you. Tink, in fact, actually. Carry on.
Okay. Other favorite authors are Charles Dickens, Jane Austen, C.S. Lewis, and Maud Hart Lovelace. When she's not reading Wingfeather, you can find her on the musical theater stage, playing fiddle and guitar, and camping with her family.
Yay! Welcome. Glad to have you guys. Thanks for joining. So today we're going to talk about episode 4. And for those of you at home, if you've missed the earlier episodes, you can go catch up there on our YouTube channel where you're probably watching this. At the end of this summer series, we're going to have a quiz. And if you've been kind of watching and listening along, you can go take that quiz, and you'll be entered in a drawing to win some of these fine figurines. Posable, in fact, so they are pretty awesome. You can stage your own kind of Lego thing going on there. Yeah, they're pretty cool. So, yeah, be sure to watch all of these, and we're going through all of Season 1 together. And today, we're going to talk about Episode 4, which, if you're reading along, is chapters 26 through 35. Andrew Peterson would tell you, if he was sitting here right now, that when he first wrote the books, he wrote them with really short chapters. Have you guys noticed that? Mm-hmm. They're not very long. And he did that so that families could do them as read aloud, a little more consumable. I attempted to read aloud with Lord of the Rings with my children. Not easy. The Council at the Elf was so long. So much reading. Big chapters. Kids falling asleep, which is the worst.
Tom Bombadil's songs go for hours.
They go for a long time, and they're hard to imagine the melody for them. Okay, well, let's dive in on this one. Mayor Blaggus is a much larger personality in the show than he's just kind of briefly in the book, right, as you know. So the question is, what's the process for taking a character that's mentioned in passing and making them someone with a larger role? Well, you both have been in theater, right? Mm-hmm. There's no small roles.
Only small actors.
Thank you. You know, you start thinking about a character. If you've done character studies in theater, where you kind of think about that character quite a lot and, like, what motivates them, what choices they make. Sometimes there are just little bitty side characters that you have a lot of fun with, right? That you're like, ooh. And have you had that happen in theater?
Yes, I have many times.
Yeah, especially if you're like a third supporting role, you know? Mm-hmm. Blaggus is somebody that we knew we wanted to put in the middle of kind of the complication of someone who has to work with the Fangs, right? But also is trying to like look out for his own interests. And then he's supposed to be the mayor of these people, right? So he's in a tough spot, right?
Right, yeah.
And so we thought he's interesting to pull forward. Once he started talking, once we cast that character, it was like, oh, give that guy more lines, you know? Because he was just so entertaining.
Pete seems much more hesitant to bring the children into his castle than he does in the books. Why did you change his demeanor?
Great question. So in the books, there's a couple more interactions with Pete in which the family, particularly Poto, is pretty mean to him. And I remember reading the books going, why is he so mean to him? It was such a, he seems like he's a decent fella. So what I felt like, two things. One is that Pete, because he's mentally kind of a little jostled, let's say, probably could accidentally tell them about who they are. You need to kind of keep him at bay because he's a danger to himself and others on accident. And then, secondly, he is unstable. It's like we don't know, could he do them harm? I don't think he would, but So we wanted to kind of build up the idea that he's had more interactions with Poto that was really threatening off screen, and so have him be really standoffish to the kids. So I think it's consistent with his character. Like he's standoffish, but it's we made that moment different where he goes to the castle.
Yeah. I liked it.
It made it fun, just the kind of him pushing, go away, don't come in here.
Yes,
And
it
then,
was kind of funny.
it was interesting in talking with Henry Ian, who plays Pete. He was really excited about, and I got really excited about the idea that in that interaction, that we could show Pete, which is actually the next one. Why does Pete eat leaves in the show? That he's gone so primitive that he is just kind of taking care of himself as best he can, right? But we like the idea that what would it look like for a character to wrestle with kind of traumatic, like maybe PTSD type things? Like, what if he's someone who's really gone through something, and so they get close to it, near the end of that, and mention, another family member, and it freaks him out, right? And he kind of goes unhinged. So that was important too.
In this episode, Janor finally feels brave enough to ask who's Esben Wingfeather. He asks Podo. In the book, we get little pieces of Esben's lore as we go along. Was the decision to withhold Esben's name until, later?
Yeah. What did you think of that?
I liked it.
Some people were upset by it because they wanted him to find the book in the shed, whatever.
Mm-hmm. I thought Tink found it in the TV series, right?
So,
in the shed or in Pete's castle.
So they don't find. Oh yeah, they find a book with the name on it. Yeah,
right.
That's right. But it's actually the sword.
It's the sword in
Ankle Jelly.
Ankle Jelly, and
it's the first time we see the name. Mm-hmm.
And then Nia comes back and she finds it, and she's like, "Oh."
Yep.
I really liked that part.
So again zoom back. Okay, so if they fled across the Dark Sea of Darkness in a little boat, and it's kind of a magical journey. There's no way they could have rowed that far. So probably Holwyn, I think, helped them. Okay, what would they have brought with them? Well, they probably would have had some weapons of some kind, right? And so then when they get to Glipwood and they know they can't have them here, what would they have done with them? Hid them somewhere. Ankle Jelly seems like a good space. So for me, the weapons chamber was like, yeah, there's other stuff in there, but probably the Wingfeathers tucked some of their stuff away there too, right? Like I think the bundle of stuff could have been in there. We ended up putting it, by the oven or by the stove at the house, but I felt like it could have been in there too. Mm-hmm. Just as a safe place. Like, if the Fangs were to come and raid their house, which did happen, you wouldn't want them to get that stuff. That's pretty important stuff, right? So, and yeah, in the book, is it weird that they don't talk about their dad and mention his name? I don't know. It struck me as...
I felt like it was, a tension. And it was, a tension, they want to talk about him, but, Nia and Podo are like, no, until finally they do. So I really liked, the will they, won't, the...
I think that... how he finds it, though, I wasn't satisfied with him just kind of happening upon it in a shed. He finds a little book and whatever. The sword thing had way more energy, and it gave us something for Jenner to then hold of his father's that he could carry with him on the journey, right? Versus just a picture of his dad and that sort of thing. And the other piece that we found that we did it in the short film, but where it was my best day or whatever. It's like a picture of him at sea, of his dad as a boy, right? Which I really liked, but nobody sails on the Dark Sea of Darkness. That's a terrible idea. You don't fish down there. You will get, so many bad creatures will get you, right? So that was just kind of it's an interesting idea back in Anira, but it didn't make sense here.
Right.
I don't think Janor standing on at the edge of his house looking out over those cliffs and all the creatures down below and going, I want to fish down there.
Yeah.
Right?
When they all go to the house...
Okay.
And they get captured there versus, Nia and Podo get captured versus all of them getting captured. What was the drive for that decision?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think that, so you remember in the books, they get captured and put in jail, and then they get freed, and they get put... every time that we had an encounter with the Fangs, I wanted to make sure that we kept them really scary, that we didn't defang them, because... if they become a bit too bumbling, they're not very threatening, right? And so if they can get in jail and out of jail kind of easily, it makes it seem like the threat's not very intense, right?
Right.
Because the feeling is, if you get thrown in jail, you're pretty much going to go in the black carriage, right? If you're just going to go to jail and then get back out again and then get back in again, that just started to kind of... And we have only so many episodes. So it's let's get them in jail one time, and so then you just kind of work from that backwards.
Right.
Right. So we actually had a version that we wrote that had them go to jail twice, but it got... Again, it felt like... we wanted the Fangs to be a little bumbling. Norm is very entertaining. And Slarb's kind of crazy, right? But we wanted them to still feel like they could do bad things, right?
Right.
One of the things that was challenging about the book is the kids didn't have a lot of agency. The story's kind of happening to them. Do you know what that means, agency? Sorry, it's kind of a big word. It means you have the power to make your own decision. How old are you?
11.
Starting to make decisions for yourself, right? Like when you do your chores, like there's things that you get, your parents start to give you like responsibility. You get to have, you can change things, right? So we wanted the characters to start to have more agency in the story. And particularly in book 1, it just kind of happened to them. The kids didn't make choices. They're just kind of tumbling along in the story. And so we're trying to find places where they could do that. So deciding to go to Angeljilly decisively, not just because they were on a whim, but to go maybe see if they could help with Sarah, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right, like it was like finding ways to like, how could we give Janner in particular as the lead character agency in the story to make changes? And so when the family's captured, it was, well, could they make a legitimate attempt? And so part of the gamemanship in episode 3, you know, where they're playing Zibsy, was to build up that there are other kids in town that they know, so that we could use them in the next episode to break them out, to be a partner to break them out of jail.
Right.
Right, that they're not alone in that. And to, again, to give them agency in the story so they're making choices. So, if that's the case, who would they need help from? Well, Verinia is easy. But probably Oscar would have been a part of that. Like, your parents might have this, but like if something really goes bad in your family, you know, aunt, uncle, so-and-so, grandparent, so-and-so would step in and help you guys, right? I think a lot of story things is like problem solving. Do you guys like solving like riddles and that kind of thing? It really is like, okay, if so-and-so, then this. Oh, wait, no, that changed this. Oh, shoot. And we'll get times where the story gets really stuck. We don't know how to fix it because everybody's going the wrong direction. And you have to think about what can we do differently to kind of zoom back. What if there's a toothy cow just then? Oh, that would solve it. You know, and then you kind of go back into it. That's episode 4, and thank you for tuning in. Come back soon for episode 5.